We're back down here working on the bullpen again today. There's still a ton of work that I need to do down here, and I actually haven't been working on this recently. So I still need to get my 2 posts inside the barn, and then I'm gonna start welding pipe. So I'm trying to not really set goals, but it's hard not to. So today I at least want to get my 2 posts in the barn done and my cross pipes where the gates will be done. And once we get that far, we'll kind of see how late it is and how I feel, and probably just keep on going if I get that far. That's what's going on today on Farmer Tyler Ranch. In a previous video, I said that I wasn't going to film putting these posts in, and that's just because, man, I filmed putting in so many posts, and these really aren't going to be any different. So we'll go ahead and film a little bit, you know, just more of an abbreviated version, but let's get these things up. Well, this first hole dug real easy. I'm not sure why. But this one on the back wall here is a little bit more what I expected. Actually, a little worse than I expected. I've been chipping at this for probably 20 or 30 minutes, and I've only been able to make it down about 10 inches. And I know people are going to say, soak it, but in my experience, that's got to sit overnight. And even then, with a hand digger, you might gain a couple inches of mud, and then you get back down to the hard stuff. So that's just kind of what we get trying to dig holes this time of year. Yeah, just keep chipping at it, and pretty soon we'll be deep enough. Have I ever told you how much I appreciate you? Oh man, not even 2 feet. The barn posts are finally done. I think it's, even though I'm in the shade in here, it feels like it's like 20 degrees hotter under this structure just because it's made of metal, I guess, and there's no air movement. So I'm glad that this is done, and it'll actually feel cooler to me to work out here in the sun now. So that's what we're gonna be doing next. The first thing that I would like to do outside of the barn is to get these cross braces over the gateways. And then after that, I would like to get this little short run of fence done back to the feeder. The reason why I kind of want to concentrate on these things first is because once this corner's done, then I could let cattle back into this corral and my perimeter will once again be secure. And because it's another hot, dry day out here, the first thing that I need to do is move my tractor and my trailer up into the little corral here. This is where I'll be cutting the metal. There's nothing in here that can burn. It's just dirt. And I'm gonna get a sprinkler going in this area that I'm gonna be welding, and make sure that this ground and the dry grass is wetted down real good before I start making sparks. So I think what I'm going to do the big gate first because it's the harder of the two, because these posts are offset. So I'm going to have to angle that top brace. And I'm doing that first because, you know, after you do that, everything else seems easy. So I first need to figure out what the angle is that I need to cut on the cross pipe, and then we can kind of try to figure out how long it's got to be. In order to do this, I've got the pipe laid out on the ground right up against the posts, and I can use my speed square to figure out what the angle's got to be. I can look on this scale here on the side, and I can tell this is about a 15-degree angle. It's probably not exactly 15, but you know, we can fill a little gap. Now on to probably what's going to be the hardest part about this, and that is lifting that pipe and setting it up there on the clamps. I'm not really sure how much that thing weighs. It weighs a lot, and it's going to be kind of difficult for me to get it up there on the ladder. So I'm going to give it a try, and if it doesn't work, then I might have to get my 3-point boom lift, and you know, I could suspend it up there and place it like that. But if I can do it this way, this would sure be easier. So we're gonna give it a try. It fits pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. So there's a little bit of gap that I've got to fill, and I still need to level it out. But I think what I'm gonna do, because I'm getting a little nervous working on the ladder with this really heavy cross pipe, if it were to fall and knock me off the ladder or something, you know, I'm out here by myself, so I don't want to take those kinds of chances. So what I think I will do is I'll tack the one side, because it's as high as it can go over there, so I can be pretty sure that that's where it's going to stay. And then once that's tacked and held on a little bit better, you know, I've just got a little bit of adjustment to level that up, but I'll feel a lot better if the other side is tacked, because then I know that it probably can't fall. So I think that's what we're going to do. Well, wouldn't you know, right as we're starting to make pretty good progress and I got everything kind of dialed in and ready to weld, the welder ran out of gas, and I don't have any more gas here, so I'm gonna have to run into town and get some, which pretty much means that I'm kind of dead in the water today. Although I didn't get done what I set out to do, I almost did, and we're making progress. You know, every day a little bit more gets done, and before I know it, this pen will be done. It's awful hot, and it's probably a good time to quit anyway, so I think we're just gonna pick this back up again tomorrow. It's a new day. We've got a full tank of gas on the welder, so let's see how far we can get. I've got both my crossbars up there now, which gets me caught up to where I was hoping to get to yesterday. I think that the next thing that I want to do is hang this gate up, because it just seems like it's always in the way. So I think I'll just hang it where it's going to go, and then at least if it's in my way, I can swing it instead of having to carry it. There is one issue with this gate though that I'm going to have to get figured out before I can hang it up, and that is that the top hinge on the gate, it's all bent up, and you can see when I hold my bracket up that I make to bolt the hinge to, that should lay flat on there, and it clearly does not. So I'm gonna have to figure out some sort of a way to straighten this. I don't have a torch here, but I do have a hammer, and you know, there's usually not a lot that you can achieve with that. So let me lay this thing down and beat on it a little bit and see if I can get this straight. Well, it's definitely not perfect, but it's better than it was, and I think that's about as good as I'm gonna get it with the tools that I have right now. There's a chance too that when I tighten the bolts up, it'll sort of flatten that plate out and fix itself that way. If that doesn't work and it's sagging too much, then you know, we'll think of something then, but I think for now we're gonna try it like this. All right, so I think I've about figured out what gate height I want. So the next step is to weld my little brackets that I make so that the gate is still bolt on and removable. I doubt I'll ever really have to change this gate because it's not going to get a lot of pressure on it. So while I was getting these brackets set up and kind of trying to figure out where to drill holes and everything, I ended up smashing my thumb, and I mean, if you've never smashed a finger before, I really think it might be one of the worst pains there is. Of course, you know, the worst pain there is the one that you're feeling right now. So anyway, if you notice me doing things and I look kind of weird or awkward while I'm doing it, that's why, because my left hand just doesn't work the way it should now. The brackets that I use to hang these Powder River gates, well, I've done this once before and I was happy with it, so this is what I'm going to do from now on. It's just a piece of 3-inch channel iron that I sort of angle so that it fits the post and the hinge on the gate, and then I just drill a couple holes in this and I can bolt the gate right to it. The nice thing about this is if the gate needs to be replaced, it's very easy to remove and put a new gate on there. If somewhere down the road I want to raise the gate, then you know, it's a little bit easier to cut these off or to just add new ones and lift the gate up a little bit. So yeah, so far these have worked pretty good. Takes a little bit of extra time to do it this way, certainly, but in the long run I think it's better. There. So right now I'm just getting it close, and then I'll come back with my square and my hammer. If I need to move it a little bit, then I will. Boy, that doesn't happen very often. That's about right on. I'm going to tack this one in place, and then I'll use the clamp to tack the other one in place, and then we'll test fit it before I go ahead and do a final weld, because you know, we only want to do that once. I'm pretty happy with that. I think it'll it'll actually sit about a ½ an inch lower because the hoist is still holding it up a little bit, but that looks good. The gate will not be in the mud anymore, which will be the first time in my life I've ever seen this gate out of the mud. And it's plenty tall enough. It's probably really taller than it needs to be. I mean, we're at, you know, almost eye level on me. So yeah, this looks good. I think we can go ahead and weld those brackets in. Well, the hinges are holding and the gate swings, but the true measurement of success is how big or little is our gap here between the gate and the gate frame. And for me, that's just about right. It could be a little bit closer, but honestly, it's close enough here that, you know, a little calf still wouldn't be able to get its head through there, but far enough away to give us plenty of clearance, and I've got room to make a latch here. So this worked out just fine. I think this is a good place to end the video. There's still a ton of work to do down here, but we're making progress. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.